Yeah.
You get that gargling thing, so which is what we're gonna do. You're gonna have that on.
Okay.
When it's my time, we're gonna ask a question, and then we're not gonna have them both on at the same time because it feels like that haunted feeling. It sounds like oceans in the
It's
back.
like that clashing.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I'll hold it right like this because we'll hear too loud, so I'll go here.
All right, cool. Actually, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because I want them to have the mic. I got that loud, host mic.
You got it.
We're gonna do this. All right, cool. So we're gonna start off with our head honcho of this production. The executive producer is Vega with a 3 production. So I want you to clap it up for Jesse Vega. So, Jesse Vega starred as Louis Rosario and John Gunther in this film, right? Before we say anything else, I met Jesse at another film screening, and he was just showing me. She's like, "Yo, you were great, blase. Give my information. I might hit you up in the future." I was like, "Sure, okay." Fast forward a couple months, it's like, "Hey, I told you I was gonna hit you up." I was like, "He's a man of his word." But he hit me up 2 weeks ago. I wanted to see it in ahead of time, and I had some questions. So first things first. What was the inspiration behind the name of your production company? Because you do a lot of your projects. He does music. He is a dancer. He has so many other talents, right? So I want you to work first class. And you can see how expressive he is in this film with a lot of characters, facial expression. You can say. So what was the inspiration behind the production company?
The inspiration of the production company mostly started of trying to showcase the multi-talented things that I do in my career. Like, obviously I started off as an actor, and then I transitioned into dancing, and then I wanted to do music, and I felt like to do a production company with all 3, whether it's a film, whether it's a music video, whether it's producing, I wanted to have it all in one. So I decided to, I picked a couple of names, like what can I name it? And then I decided, I was like, you know what? Vega, why don't I just change the E to the 3, which will be act, dance, and music, and then it'll be J Vega Productions. So you get all different sides of me in one, and all the products that I will put out in my production company. And that's why it's called J Vega Productions.
So as a proper follow-up question, how do you utilize all your talents to create your projects, right? So you do have the 3 gifts, acting, music, and dance, right? Mm-hmm. How do you utilize all 3?
So the way I do it is, I think, I'm a Capricorn, so we always thinking ahead. Anybody Capricorns here? Any Capricorns? Okay, Capricorn 1.
In the back with the head.
Oh, Capricorn, okay. So as a Capricorn, I'm always thinking about what I want to do within the next 6 months to a year. Like some people, they'll be like, okay, they never plan ahead, they just live in the moment. For me, I'm always planning ahead. I'm like, okay, so I want to do this in the next 3 to 6 months, then I want to do this in the next couple of months. So what I tend to do is I'm always thinking about what I want to do. So okay, I'll be like, I'm going to do this video. This won't take too much time, so it'll take about a month. If I want to do a film like this, then you have to think about budgets and all that, so it takes longer. So I'm always utilizing my time within 12 months of the year and just compartmentalize. And that's how I manage to do multiple things based on the scheduling.
Hey. Wow. That was powerful. I was like,
I think that's just natural. I think a natural thing as who I am, especially as a guy. I'm very computerized. Do this. And there's people nowadays. They just you know what? I'm just gonna do when I have the chance. Yeah, I said I was gonna do it tomorrow, but you know what? Why don't we just go out tonight? Let's just forget about doing the show. Let's just do this. There's people like that. And me, I'm like, no, we gotta do this. And anybody who knows, who's a friend of mine, they're like, Jesse's very meticulous about time. You say 3 o'clock, he's gonna get there by 3 on the nose. Don't get there at 3:30 because it'll drive him crazy. But I'm very like that. Anybody knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah. No, I love the clap. I didn't know if you were gonna do a slow clap. We all clap, or we're gonna do
No, why don't we all clap?
All right,
yeah, let's all clap. There we go.
I was waiting for that slow moment of y'all clapping, but y'all missed it. It's okay. It's okay. Next time y'all gotta do that. So now let's be present with the project that is Room 702. So, Jesse, what inspired you to want to make this project?
I love that question. So, anybody who knows me, they're like, "Oh, Jesse, he's so funny. He's so comedy." And you would think, for someone like me, I would the first thing I want to do is comedy. And then I've done that in the past, like with other projects, but then I said for a film, I want to challenge myself. As artists, you never want to do something that is so safe. And in the beginning, like 15 years ago, I used to be so afraid of horror films. Like one of my first films that I was very afraid of was The Exorcist. Anybody seen that movie? Obviously. So I was very terrified of those type of movies, like demonic possessions and all that stuff. And then, you know, I met Alex, and he was so into like those type of movies, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that. He got me into was it Insidious? He got me into Insidious. That was and I was afraid because obviously like those type of movies. So I was like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that. But then I started to watch it, and then little by little, he got me hooked, and I started watching this next one, and this one, and this one. And now, 15 years later, I'm like, yeah, let's just watch this one. My friend Danny's like, I'm so sick of those damn movies. You're always watching the same movies. Like, that was like, it's the same thing. But I was like, you know what? I want to challenge myself. Let me do something like a thriller. Let me do something scary. But I kind of like felt like, oh man, I shot myself in the foot, because I'm like, this is kind of hard, because it's not just, okay, like comedy, where it's like, okay, you do the punchline, and then you either get a laugh track, or you just gotta wait if they're gonna laugh, and that's it, and a little bit of music. But it's like when you're doing thrillers, you have to think about the sound, you gotta think about obviously the angles, and the story has to make sense. So there's like a lot of different layers when you're doing a thriller and a supernatural, because you have to also make it make sense. And especially when you're doing suspense and supernatural stuff, you have to ask people who knows about that world. And like, can this make sense? Does this make sense? So it was a lot, and that's why it took so long to even get it on its feet. And thank God it's here, and now we're watching it, right?
So I have two more questions for you, right? What was your favorite part of this project as an executive producer, and what was your favorite part of this project as a character actor in this movie? So it's a two-part question. So first is, how did you feel? Big chair, executive producer. What was your favorite part of it, and what was your favorite part as playing as the character that you were playing with Louis/John?
So my favorite part of like producing the project is the fact that I can have the final say on what I want and how I want it. Sometimes when you're working, collaborating with people, especially if you don't know them, and you're like, hey, I'll present you this script, what do you think about it? Not everybody's gonna get your vision. So they're always gonna say, oh, I think this needs work, or I don't understand this, I don't believe in this. And then you're left with like, do I really wanna listen to them and go with it and really jeopardize my project? Or just say, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do it myself and produce the project and go with it. Is it time for me to wake up? No. No. So like I decided to like take the bull by the horns and say, you know, I'm just gonna do it myself. And it was a lot of work, but it was actually a lot of fun to like start it from scratch and find a writer, Ben Kerr, and I was like, here's the concept, this is what I'm thinking about, and go from there. And to take ownership of it was really a lot of fun. And then as an actor, for me, I was like, you know what, that part is easy. It's never like the hard part. So you gotta do the homework. You gotta like investigate the character. Why is he in this situation? What is his goal? That part was fun. But the overall fun part of it is working with the people that you love and your friends, and working with great actors that you don't know, that to explore the world of like, there's more talented actors out there that put them on. Because sometimes you always want to put your friends, but you also want to like flesh out other people, because then it gives it a balance. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm just giving a hand and a chance for people out there that don't believe in them. So that's why it was the most fun part of doing this project.
And my last question.
Okay.
Last question. You know, time is two more questions. Now we only have one. Which actors or actresses are on your wish list for a future movie that you want to produce? Like, if you had, don't even think about the budget.
Oh, I know, right?
So list to me like 3 actors and 3 actresses that don't even think about the money. Like, you can get these people. Who would you want? You're already working with these people. So
okay.
These are your 10. So we're including y'all too, but like the head honcho actors and actresses. Who do you want to like you could pay for them? Like 3 actors and 3 actresses.
Okay. Okay. So like out there, obviously I will always work with the same people and flesh them out and change up a bit. But like out there. So I've been really loving Melissa McCarthy.
Okay.
You know, co-star, she's gonna play Ursula in The Little Mermaid, so I'm excited for her. She's one of my favorite comedic actresses, so that's one. Another actor, actress, I would say, I've been watching his movies. His name is Cole Sprouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like him. Cole Sprouse.
Zack and Cody, if you don't know.
Zack and Cody, Phoenix from 5 Feet Apart, and that. And then the third one. Actor, actress. Let me see. I would honestly love to work with Whoopi Goldberg. Those are like my top. I would like to work. I want to get her out of the view chair and really get her back acting again. So yeah, those are my top threes. And always, also the people that I work with, always will call them. So I will be calling. You know.
I wasn't excluding y'all.
Never exclude. We love everybody.
No, I just wanted, in case we can get more talent in addition to the talent we have right now.
Yes.
All right, cool. So clap it up for Jesse. Clap it up for Jesse. Your last name is Bugs?
It's Bugs, yeah.
All right, cool, because I was overthinking.
What do you think it was?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was gonna let you know because a lot of times when I host events, I host comedy shows, I be reading things wrong. You kind of like, you would think I have mild dyslexia, so I just would ask everyone, how do I say your name?
Right.
So I ain't trying to disrespect you. Before we say anything, you have 29 credits as an actor. I'm going to eat some unique claps. 4 credits as a writer. He has 3 credits as a producer, right? Woo! So before I ask questions, I want to make sure people understand who I'm talking to right now. Okay? First things first, you are a frequent collaborator with Jesse, you know?
Yes.
How do you enjoy working with Jesse? You guys have worked on numerous projects. Nothing bad, obviously.
Right.
Nothing bad.
No,
How do you enjoy working with him?
I love working with Mr. Vega. He is punctual, meticulous, and most importantly, he's fun and super creative. I met him in 2019. We did a project called Kenny from the Jump. And afterwards, we were just kind of like, he would always text me late at night, like, hey girl, how's it going? And I'm like, you know, it's going good. And fast forward to like 2019, he hit me up and he was like, hey, I would love to collaborate with you. Let's meet at Starbucks. So again, he's on time. It was like 4 p.m. I was like texting him, hey, my phone's about to die. I'll see you in like 30 minutes. He was like, girl, we said 4 p.m., but okay. And so, you know, he was showing me like a book and he was telling me all these creative ideas he was having. And I was like, oh, you know, like I write too. And he was like, really? So I'm showing him like all these scripts. And it was Senior Living that he just absolutely loved, and which is my web series. And so he was reading it and he was like, he looked at me, he said, I'll do this with you, girl. And I was just like, okay, because you know, like we meet plenty of people that say, oh, I want to work with you, I want to do this and that, and then it just never like happens. And so I just kind of forgot about it. Like a week later, he was like, so when do you want to put the casting out? No, like seriously. And I was like, oh, I mean, next week. And he was like, okay. And then he sends me a text like, hey, I paid $20 for backstage, so put out a casting call. So he's, you know, he's right on the money. He's a Capricorn like me, so it's a hit or miss with him. So I love.
You didn't raise your hand.
I did right, but I was like, hey, and then I was like, pointing. Okay. Yeah, I'm a Capricorn too. January. Don't play with it.
Don't play with me.
Okay, but no, working with Jesse is phenomenal. He has good energy, super talented, and patient. You know, like he's very patient with whatever I bring to the table or vice versa. So yeah, he's a good sort of match. You know, thank you.
My second question, you play the warden, and while you had, you know, short amount of time on the screen, you had a very memorable interactions with Jesse's character, right? What was your thought process for the project and like the character that you portrayed?
My thought process for the character was, he was like, I don't want to talk about that. You want me to talk about that? So he asked me my size, and I was like, I'm an extra large. So he was like, okay. And he went to the store, and I think he paid what? It was like cheap material.
I went to CC's at Fordham.
Okay, so it was cheap material, and it like the top fit, but the bottoms didn't fit. So I was like, I called him and I was like, hey, you know, the bottoms don't fit. He was like, turn around, girl. And he looked, he was like, oh girl, what are we gonna do? And so my mom, who's a nurse, she had a white jacket, and so I got her white jacket, so that's the whole outfit of that. But the warden, he basically, like, I had an idea of, like, very stern, and he was like, I kind of want you to bring Geaorgetta into it, give me that flavor, that southern flavor, and just kind of work with it. So I was like, okay, and, you know, we did a few takes, and that was just kind of that. So I really enjoyed playing the warden. Actually, he didn't cast me as that. I actually begged him. I was like, I read it, I was like, oh my God, I really want to be in this. And he was like, I mean, girl, I don't have anywhere to put you. And I was reading, I was like, I'll do the warden. And he was like, okay, girl, well, let's do this. So the warden was good. And the other question was the thought process of the whole.
Well, because you're technically part of like the production side of this too, right? So like, because you're assisting his vision, like what was your thought process of adding that value of your expertise?
Ooh.
Does that question make sense? It kind of sounds good.
I think my thought process was kind of similar to his in terms of making sure the tone was set for the film and making sure that we portrayed each character and that it was very relatable, you know? And also just being authentic in the characters and making sure that it really makes sense. So that was kind of like my idea of how I would want it portrayed, and you know, talking with Jesse was kind of like the same thought process. So it was good. Yeah, I would definitely do Room 702 Part 2 again.
All right, so I know you touched on this a little bit when I asked you for how you portrayed the warden, right? And I'm just gonna flat out ask this question because I know he saw the question I had for it.
Okay.
Why was the warden so mean? Because I've seen stern warden, and she said it was stern. That was beyond stern. Like you pushed him into the room.
He was like, you know, I just want you to go all for it, and I was like, okay. So I just did it. Like he didn't tell me to push him. He was like, just be in the moment, Georgetta. Just be in the moment. So I was holding him, and he was like, all right. He said, be in the moment. So. There you go.
That was aggressive, though.
It was aggressive.
Okay. There was no inner frustration.
No, there was no frustration.
All right, cool.
No.
I was like, that was a shove. That was a strong shove. And get back into like me even saying all the credits that you have for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. What is your favorite part about acting? What is your favorite part about producing? And what is your favorite part about writing? Because you do all three of these things and you do it at a high level. So
My favorite part about writing is telling a story. Acting is very therapeutic for me, and producing is just more so kind of being proud of my work and kind of like putting in the energy and, you know, just really believing in myself. But with acting, for sure, that was my first love, my first passion, and my first discipline. And I think for me, it's just, I love playing different people and embodying that and just really doing my research on it, as well as having fun, because I think that's the most important part about acting and just the whole entertainment in general, is just having fun in the process of it. So, yeah.
Guys, clap it up. Make sure I get people's last names right. So right now on the mic is Jerry Guiracocha. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I've been practicing the last 15 minutes. But please clap it up for Jerry. Jerry. Okay, because I was like, where are you looking? What was your inspiration for how you edited some of these scenes? And before you answer, I think as someone that's looked at your credits and seen how you kind of do it, like these are some really good shots, right? And I know that you invested a lot into the equipment and just the team. So first of all, clap it for that. So you, as a person that needs to make sure Jesse's kind of like vision is reality, like what was your kind of like inspiration for editing these scenes the way that you did?
When Jesse and I first discussed the movie and how we're gonna do the shots, Jesse already had like this like screenshots of moments of different films that he wanted to have as a reference for his own film, so inspiration for having these shots. So what I had to do was actually try to see if I could recreate some of them, but then add some little twist into it. So some tilt angles, some hands, you can see sometimes like this steady cam motion happening. And we had to actually just try it, and when we were on set, we had to just go and just see which works, how do I place the camera here. So it was a lot of being in the field and at the moment and seeing, okay, then this feels better than this angle here. So it was a process of thinking about it in the editing room as well. You know, cutting away shots, saying, okay, is this shot taking longer than the other shots? And it worked out.
Yeah, it did. So you mentioned something that answered that caught my attention, right? So, because Jesse, I can imagine, right? He has this big list of things, right? Inspirations. He's like, I need y'all to digest this. From the top of your head, do you remember any of the movies that he kind of like, at least one or two? I don't need you to, because knowing him, you probably had like 10 of them. Just this scene, this scene, this scene. But which one, like top of mind, do you remember, like, I wanted to recreate from a particular movie or scene?
I think in terms of the ambiance of the movie, he wanted Insidious.
Yeah.
Insidious.
He wanted to have that feeling of like, okay, being like on the edge, and sort of like the music was a big factor that we had to go through. So we had like, Jesse had like 15 songs or something like that, and we had to like listen to, and it's like, okay, so which one would be the best one that fits throughout the whole movie? So then we would have that tense moment, put the music, then all we had to do was just like increase the volume, decrease, you know, just add it, or like amp it up a bit for like some echoes or some other effects in the background.
Okay. So quick to my next question, because I know I was talking about how expensive, because like everyone's face look clear. I don't know if you've seen like some other people, they don't really invest in the equipment as they should. And you know, just look high def. A lot of things. Right? So what was the equipment setup? Like, I'm guessing you had like a kind of like a little, like those like suitcases with the different types of cameras and add-ons. So like, what was the setup for those?
I use a Sony, like the brands, like Sony A7 III.
Okay.
So I knew from the start when I was going to do film or like do some short films or shorts throughout, I knew I had to invest in the equipment. So I didn't want any some like pixelations or like some like 720 that you have to scale to like 1080 or 1080 you have to scale to 4K, because you know once you try to do that, then everything becomes pixelated and blurred. And I kind of wanted to have all the actors and their work be high quality, so then you could see or stream it in YouTube or other streaming services that you may have into it.
Awesome.
And so Sony tripod, of course, for the steady shots, the fixed shots, or when I had to do the steady cam, I'd have to, you know, just hold my arms for sometimes these scenes had to run more than a few minutes, and then I had to hold it just as like, Jerry, stay right there. Hold it. I was like, Jesse, we gotta keep this going. I don't know if my arms could do it.
So, because of what you just said, I actually had, and I'm still saving my last question for last, but I wanted to, what inspired you to want to be a DP, right? And I feel like the thing about it is, we understand with Jesse, why Jesse has J-V3GA Productions with a 3, you know? We understand Miss Bucks, 29 credits, 4 credits, 3 credits, so 29 for acting, 4 for producing, 3 for writing. I gotta make sure you guys remember that. I remember that, right? But for you, what inspired you? Because DP is not something that you just know. Like, you don't know behind. I didn't care about credits until Marvel when we had to sit for them extra scenes. I was like, let me start actually seeing these names real quick. Let me see what these people are doing. What made you want to be a DP?
I think it was an evolution. Since I was younger, I used to draw a lot, so I used to do fine arts. And then that's what led me to apply to a specialized school, the LaGuardia High School of Performing Arts, where I auditioned that to get in, you know, and I passed the audition and I got accepted. At 4 years, I had to explore different mediums. So I just started out with just pencils and Crayola, and then I started using crayon pads, oil paint, and ink, charcoal, all these different mediums I had to use. And anyone that knows that does any fine arts, you know, like once you draw a line, you have to erase it, then you kind of leave marks, and then you have to like, you can't go back. Like, once you draw a line, it's a line, and it's there. And I took this one elective when I was in high school. It was like architecture, just like a general architecture elective. And I took it. And then we had to actually draw, like explore like what is architecture and what is buildings. And then like, oh, so you would see these renderings and like, why does the architect or the renderer capture this shot? Like it has to sell to the client why it should be, like why does he want to go and pursue this design? And that led me to do architecture school, and then that's when exploring computer-aided design, and renderings and like all these different programs that use Photoshop. And then I had this one curiosity, like, oh, let me see if you could tell like 1,000 words with one picture. What can you do with film, which is a composite of different shots? And then I did the medium, and then I took this class, and that led me to do film with my final year, and then meet Fabian, a friend of Jesse's, and then we all met together, and I was like, oh, like I'm just starting out. I really don't know, but I have the idea. I watch a lot of movies. And the rest is history.
Yes, 35. Some more. That's a lot of hard work, and she's been on a lot of different sets. So before I say anything else with the other question I have, what got you into acting? Oh, wow. I know, just jump right into it.
Well, I started acting when my daughter was 4. So that was like 30 years ago. And a 30-year hiatus because I was just doing background work. And I'm like, this isn't for me. It's a lot of, hurry up, wait, no, go back. And I was like, I'm gonna do this. So then I stopped. And about 5 years ago, I booked my first commercial on my own. And I was like, and it just took off from there.
I love that. This mic's all you. I got mine going for you. We're gonna keep this going, but I just wanted to know what was the inspiration. And shout out to you for your courage to be like, I'm just gonna do this my way. I think a lot of times people try to tell you what to do, and
Exactly.
like, I'm gonna do it the Donna way. So
How I felt. And I like to be other people. Sometimes you get out of your own self and get to be a different person for a day.
I love it. What made Room 702 a perfect project to add to your portfolio?
A thriller. And I love thrillers. I watch thrillers all the time. I don't watch supernatural stuff, but it was when I saw the audition, and my daughter is my reader, and
Explain to the people that don't understand what a reader is.
so the reader's usually off camera. I have my own studio in my home, and she sits in the background and she reads the other lines to me. That keeps me, and she's such a good reader, just keeps me into that acting. It's like she's my coach as well. Like mine now. This stuff. I listen to her. She's a TV buff. She watches movies. She watches TVs. A lot of the shows I audition for, I've never even seen. A lot of shows that I've been in, I don't even watch. So,
cut that in the post. We don't. Don't cut that. Like, remember, cut that in the post.
yeah, cut it in the post.
I don't know how I lost my voice for a second. I was laughing too hard. Where did it go? Okay, we're back. Woo. How did you prepare for this role with dealing with the supernatural? Because you do watch a lot of thrillers, but how did you prepare for this character?
Okay, so I don't normally prepare for a role. I read the script and I just do it. I don't know. There was a scene where I was being tossed in the bed. I don't know if you saw that.
I saw it twice. I saw it earlier so I can have the questions for you, then I saw it with y'all just now, so I saw it twice.
So that was actually done on the fly, right? I says, well, maybe I could just, act like supernatural was taking over me. And I was just throwing myself on the bed, and he's with the camera. And this is my first time meeting her. And she was the one that's supposed to be killing me. We were not on set together. So I give it to you with that cutting and adding. It was awesome. Yes. I mean, he was the tail rider. He played the tail rider.
I was wondering why she was so tall. So I know because you have so many acting credits, right, and you're building your brand. What movie franchises, if you had the opportunity to work with, would you want to partake in?
There's a couple.
Ooh, what's the couple?
Marvel.
See, I was thinking when I was
Wakanda.
I could could see you in Marvel? Like, I don't know about DC. I like the cartoons better than the movies. But I won't put you in good stuff, so I see you in Wakanda. What else can you be?
Tyler Perry.
Oh. Like a serious one or like a comical one? Because the serious one slaps. Like, I know we see Tyler Perry dressed up, but when he really acts, he's a very good actor.
I would go with either one.
Okay.
I conform very well.
Oh, I see.
I would love to get the opportunity to work with, oh gosh, she has the long sister locks.
Ava DuVernay.
Ava DuVernay.
That's an Issa. So I was like, Issa don't got sister locks.
So those are my main goals that I'm reaching for.
Now it's gonna happen. We're just manifesting that. But guys, please clap it up for
Good.
So this is your third acting credit.
Yes.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I did my homework. So, what did you learn about yourself while playing Jamie?
Patience. A lot of patience. Because I was working at the time when we were filming, so I did like after hours.
Okay.
So I was working from 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. and then I would go straight to film with Jesse, and no sleep. And I normally don't do that, but I really love this project, so I was like, let me just do it. And
Okay, so some of those scenes when you kind of flash back to it, it makes more sense now. When you just be staring at him and you be like, he was sleeping. He was mad. He was like, man, you better. Yeah. He's like, I've been waiting to do this a long time.
That was real.
Was that in the script, or was that, did you allow that to happen off the fly?
No, that was actually like in the script,
Oh, okay.
and it was a lot. I was like, I think this will be the best part. He'd be like, yeah, you want to punch me?
Yeah,
I was waiting for that.
That's when Kevin Richard, he was like, I'm so tired, I gotta hit Jesse real quick. I think he does a comical laugh. I had to finish it. How do you think Jamie pushes Lewis to face his fears to save the detective?
Ooh, good question. By their friendship, I feel like since they're so close, he tries to be a motivator to be like, snap out of it, Lou. Like, come on, like you can do this. Like he's just like is pushing him.
No, okay. So I think my follow-up question to that is probably gonna help steer this. So this is why I take notes, right? Would you classify Jamie as Lewis's guardian angel? Because whenever we see it, like even with the scene where the warden comes in, and we know that Lewis is talking to Jamie, but Jamie's not really there. Jamie's in his subconscious, right? So will we look at Jamie as like a guardian angel for Lewis, and then he kind of goes away once he's saved?
Yeah, definitely. Because the whole goal is for me to push Lou to like. Yeah, to cross, so that way I can cross over as well. So it's like we're helping each other out. I'm helping him realize, like, you need to snap out of it. We need to get rid of this bitch, okay? And I also need to cross over because I'm tired of talking to you. I just want to die already. So, like, yeah.
You're stuck in the
Like
world.
stuck, yeah.
In order for you to cross over, I'm the key to remember.
Exactly, right.
So I know this is like your third acting credit. What made you decide? Because you do music, so shout out to Kenny. I think I counted like 10, 15 songs on your SoundCloud. I don't remember.
Yeah, about.
All right, cool. I was supposed to write that off. Try to do my research, right? But what made you decide? A lot of times musicians really do a really good transition to acting. Like, what makes you feel like I really want to kind of delve deep into?
Well, to be honest, acting was my first love.
Oh, okay.
Always, yeah. I did like little theater projects for school, and I even went to a college for theater. I got my associates in theater. So I started out that. But I don't know, music was always like a thing for me. That was always like what I always wanted to pursue. But thanks to Jesse, I was able to do films with him, and so he brought out my acting more. So that's yeah, when we started off as a web series and Stars Dance, right? It was the comedy. It was a comedy, yeah. Yeah, and then you also helped me with music videos and all the stuff like that. So
yeah. Like, okay, I was gonna say this. I don't know who's who, so I'm just gonna say it. It's kind of like a Batman-Superman relationship. I don't know who's the gadget one and who's
Like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll accept it. One of them is a little off sometimes.
Oh,
you can take a gander who's the one that's off. I can't say that. I want to act too, so get it in post. No, and I think the last question I wanted before we switch over to our Hail writer. Who is your ideal screen partner that you see in the future? And what I mean by that is, who would you like to be in a scene with? Any person. Any actor, actress, you would love to share a scene. You're going mano a mano with the lines. Who would you want to do?
That's a good question.
I mean,
Denzel Washington, Will Smith.
well, that's her answers. So we had to keep that. Will Smith, Denzel. We want to manifest that. But for you, who do you want to be across from? No pressure. Don't say Jesse, because Jesse's going to be with you.
Yeah, Jesse.
That's no.
No, well, okay, so my idol.
Who's your idol?
Lady Gaga. She's just getting into acting now. So as you see, she's been in like 3 movies, so I would love to have a scene with her.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Please clap for her. And then there was 2 more. Are you guys having fun with these questions? Am I doing okay? Alright. We're doing homework for 7 days. I have slept, so I'm not punching anybody. Okay? So don't gotta worry about nothing. Like, I'm well rested. Geana Gomez. Geana Gomez is our film writer, also known as Sammy Gunther. Okay. So this is your second acting credit. That's what it says on IMDb. Am I right?
I mean, I've done a lot of work on my own.
Okay. So you gotta update. Yeah. You gotta update the portfolio. You gotta let us know. Now you got me looking wrong.
I mean, it's correct. It is too professionally, but I have a whole bunch of experience in the past, which is fun. Okay. I get to turn to.
So you gotta have to name drop that because I didn't get that in my research.
Oh, I built a platform for myself on social media using TikTok, and then I gained like 20,000 followers. Thank you. I switched over from TikTok to like Instagram and all that, YouTube, and branching out. But also, I did this while I was in high school. My mom is Hispanic, so it's like if I don't bring home good grades, you know what I mean? So I had to focus on school a lot. Yeah. I did turn to my passion though, with filming, because content creating and like, you know what I mean, using your iPhone, gathering up footage, editing it, putting it together, you know what I mean, and sending it out. It's so cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it.
So I actually did look at some of your images, and you're pretty good with the characters that you portray. You're just really bought in. I was like, committed, right?
Thank you.
So, so I did a little bit of research, right? How much did you enjoy playing a supernatural entity that is an efficient killer? I was like, very efficient. For several years in this project.
I really enjoyed it. Jesse reached out to me, and I was so excited because I thought, I didn't really think he was being serious, but after working with him on Senior Living, I seen that come together, and that was also beautiful. I was blessed with that opportunity, and once Jesse asked for me to participate in this project as well, I signed on so quickly because it was something new and different. I never played a character like that, but it was it was new, so yeah.
No, I like that. Clap it up for her. Were you a fan of horror and kind of like suspenseful movies growing up?
Yeah, of course. I don't really, I like all the Scream movies. Those are pretty interesting. Yeah. I also like murder mystery. Lady Gaga is also a really good actor. I've seen her in what's that one show called? American Horror Story. Very good, very good. I think I would go for TV shows more than movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the checks are not the same, but it's consistent.
The residuals are
When it comes to like horror, though,
Yeah.
I would go for TV shows.
Because we have one expert, she's like, I'm prepared to get in character. Did you feel like you had to get into character to kill effectively? and
No,
efficiently?
not really. Which was also like fun because on set we were singing a lot of Kenny's songs.
Yes, she was.
Amazing.
And on set, kept singing or getting songs and having fun.
So it was easy to get into character because once Jesse said ready, he said action. 1, 2, 3, let's go. It's time. I had right into work, and then afterwards we had free time on the side where we were like singing and getting to know each other. I feel like it was really easy to get into character because the vibe was so comfortable. It was cool.
So you were on the screen for a little bit of time because again, you're effective and efficient as a supernatural killer, right? What do you want the audience to come away with from your performance?
She's scary, so I really don't know. Isn't she a bad guy?
She was so in mourning.
I mean, she is okay.
I see. Okay, right. Wait.
So let me try to flip this in a better way because sometimes questions are not worded. You like Scream, right? So whenever I think of that main character, the mask, I don't care if it's Halloween, I don't care if it's a little kid, I'm running across the street. It's like the feeling I get when I see like a villainous character. So what I was trying to say is, what do you want when you're portraying this pale right now? If I see a woman that kind of looks like your side with a hood, about to leave. I'm about to leave immediately. So like, what do you kind of want people to take away from this character?
That she's scary, honestly. And I seen the first film that Jesse put out like 10 years ago. I seen that, so I could try to get representation, like understanding of what the storyline was. That's why it was so cool watching it now because it was like, oh my god, it makes sense. Like, I see what you did. And then what was the question? No, I remember the question. But it's like seeing it back, I really feel like she has problems. She's not correct in the head. I don't think it's unacceptable overall, Yeah. I don't like her. I mean, it's not that I don't like her character, but it's like she's a bad guy. She's not one of the good people. She tried to kill my lovely girl over here. Yeah.
But it was actually my fault too, because I was cheating on you. My character's cheating on you, and then that's what spiraled you out of control. And then you murdered Sammy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah, you're right, but still.
Like you had mentioned.
I mean, I wouldn't. Maybe she have.
So, and I'm glad that you answered. I think my third or fourth question the way you did, because you said you like Scream, right? Because Scream 6 is out recently, right?
Yes.
All right. I don't know if you're kind of feeling what I'm feeling with this next question. If someone called you up and said, "Hey, we want you for Scream 7," like, how you feeling about that?
That's a good question. I would love to take any opportunity. That's fine with me.
That was a good question.
I would love that. And it adds to my credits. So it's kind of cool, something new, experience. We love that, and we stay humble. We manifest, like you said.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day it'll land. However, I want to start small, and hopefully we'll get up there.
That was a great She was like, let me not just say yes too fast. Let me just make this the most eloquent yes possible. Like, I'll accept it, but I also want to build more credit. So, clap it one more time. So we're coming right back to the boss, to the Nick Fury of this Jesse verse right now. Okay? Actually, you can't see me in the shot, so I'm not going to get back over there. I'm going to stay right where I was. Hover over Jesse. So I'm going to ask you more questions about your character. So when I watch this, and I'm watching it by myself, and I'm just like, what did you have to do to get into that mindset for Luis Rosario? Because he's very troubled. And like when you see like the jittery, the eyes twitching, like you ever remember it in psychology class, if you care, you know, if you pay attention, he's really exhibiting like that schizophrenia. Like you're going through all those motions of like, am I tripping? I'm not tripping. I know I'm not tripping, but the world says I'm tripping. Like, what did you do to like kind of like get into that headspace to properly portray Louis the way you do?
I think the fear of like if you're in a situation where no one believes you, you feel like everybody's your enemy. So I felt like playing Louis, I had to think about, okay, no one believes me. I'm stuck in this psych ward for a bit 10 years now, life, because the case was closed and nobody wanted to open it because they didn't believe that my story was true, that I seen somebody. So it's like you have the fear of not people believing in you. Sometimes you almost feel like you're crazy, which is one of the reasons why he used the Rubik's Cube, because in the script it was written as, oh, he uses a Rubik's Cube, and I'm like, okay, well, Rubik's Cube, I never done that. I still can't figure how to use a Rubik's Cube. Does anyone know how to do a Rubik's Cube? Yeah, so even when I was doing it, I was like, I hope after scene 1, maybe I'll complete it, but even after, it was just not gonna happen, so that didn't happen. But it's just like the fear of not, like I said, not believing in you, or not believing your story, and getting to a point of just like, maybe I am crazy. And then I decided to like, okay, so if he's in this world, okay, you know, his hair's a little frizzy, there's no like, he's growing out his beard a little bit. He's looking a little bit pale. Sometimes I'll go on to some films, like, okay, put a little bit of makeup here and there, but I'm like, no, let's just be raw. And that was just the idea of why I wanted to make Louis be in that edge. He's always on edge, but because he's with his with Jamie, he helps him try to believe that, this is the truth, but it's the fear is what keeps believing like it's not possible. So that's why I felt like playing it always on the edge and always intense is what made it kind of real for the audience to be like, wow, yeah. Imagine just being in a psychiatric ward and you go through courts and they still can't find like proof of like this is the truth, and they keep closing it. You just lose hope and you just lose your mind.
Wow. Got 2 more questions, right? So I want to let you know because people's like, oh man, how many questions do you have? So for the second
be able
question,
to take pictures and all that stuff.
Yeah, we gotta have the time for the pictures, so we're gonna make sure we're doing pretty good on time.
Yes.
Good team. So when we're paying attention to 3 times that Jamie shows up, it usually happens, or 3 or 4 times, but every time that Jamie makes an appearance, you are under extreme duress, right? You're really at a point of like feeling overwhelmed. Is that like purposeful? Especially because with you as an actor, like how you have to even show that levels. Because if you ever pay attention to like what we just saw, it kind of builds to the point that he's really frustrated.
Yes.
Like with the Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
With the other scene, like he comes in like, are you okay? Like Jamie's like that conscious guardian angel. So when you're playing off it, how do you know to physically show that build of like that discomfort?
I feel like when Jamie keeps coming up, and like you said, it adds another element of like intensity. The whole idea, even when I was like trying to produce it and then playing as the actor and then working with Kenny, like me and Kenny was speaking, I was like, you're like the root of helping him remember, and the reason why you keep coming like in spiritual sense, like the spirits, like when they're like kind of like, I don't know if anybody's spiritual, whatever they believe in, but they keep coming up to the host to make them believe on what is the issue that's withholding. So in order for them to cross over, they keep on showing up to the person that they attach to. So that's why every time when he's about to lose it over the edge, he keeps coming up to like keep him grounded. Like, okay, what happened? Well, why don't you believe it? But the detective showed up and this is good. You have to keep on. It's like his guardian angel, because it's his friend, but he crossed over. So that's the only person that believes him because they were both in that situation. So me playing it of the level of intensity with working with Kenny was the fact like, okay, every scene is gonna build and build and build, and like even like I always like in every movie, when you watch a movie, there's always like the element of like the pre-climax to the climax, because like the pre-climax is like when the audience is like, oh, there's the truth. okay, so now where's it gonna go to get to the finale at the end before it gets into the final battle? So like those are my favorite parts of every movie. My favorite part is working when Jamie comes up and he's like, it's in your dreams, you have to believe it, like how can you not? He gets fed up, and I was telling Kenny, I was like, this is the moment where he tells him to believe, and you spark that interest of like getting the vision. So the fact that moment, by the time we got to the final battle with Donna, is where it makes it all clear. And like, I just gotta say, can you give it up for Kenny when that moment on his facial reaction, when he's like, no, you have to face it, no, and we get that panning shot. I said, this is like, it was so like epic, because I was like, I always love soap operas. Anybody watch soap operas? I said, this is my soap opera moment to get this shot. Hold that, Jerry, hold it, and pan it, and then just fade it out, because that's what I wanted. It was like, that's where the truth was. But it was so like, yes, so he did so good. I was like, that's my favorite part, you know? And he was like, okay, but he's like, how many more takes? I'm tired. I was like, you can do it, just give me that one shot, just give me that spat. Like, you have to face it, no, and it just pans out. So like that, those moments is what drives Lewis to like, okay, he remembers. But it's mostly at that point when he finally sees the vision of the dream, and he's like, it's true, oh, you're right. So yeah, working with him, it helps out, and we both piggyback each other, so yeah.
We're talking about last question. So, you're at the final fight, and the detective is going mano a mano with the tall version. Feel right? How did you, because the suspense is there, we want to make sure she gets, safely. We don't want her to die where we're rooting for her. How did you kind of like get to that scene with your character to support her? Because now, I didn't realize it, but we're in the dreamscape. And that's why when you're saying that we're in the dreamscape to protect her, right? That's not told to you until the end where he's like, wake up, because room service. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's already up. And then no, she's having this battle in the room while she's sleeping. So there's all these spirits, Jamie's character, Sammy Gunther, you're there to support. So it's like a dreamscape fight. How did you make sure to support her, and like how the tension is there? How did you show up for Donna the way that you needed to?
Well, that's like the twist of like the end of the movie, because all this time you're like, okay, Jamie's telling Lewis, like, you can see things in your dreams, and in reality, I can, because that's why I see a lot of things, and when I see things before it happens in my dreams, so that's why I wanted to do this type of film. But the crazy part is, because I can see that as a character with the help of Jamie, when we get to the end and we get into that final battle is where I wanted to like really make the audience like kind of like, wait a minute, but we're in a dream sequence, and he fought the Paravider, even though in realism, Cheryl Cortez is like, I need to stop her, but she doesn't realize that she too is also gifted without her realizing it, because she beat the Paravider in her dream, which makes sense of why she saw Lewis, because it wouldn't make any sense. Like, how can Lewis from a psychiatric ward travel to this hotel? He's stuck, and she beat him. She beat the Paravider in her dream, so it just got the audience. I don't know if anybody got that, but like they're like, wait a minute, she can travel, she can see too beyond. So I wanted like to really kind of make the audience think, just like, oh wow, so there's more than one person that can really see the beyond, and that's why I wanted to add that. So the intensity of doing that was interesting, and having Donna work was amazing. I mean, she was like phenomenal, and I told you this, but like when we first did the first scene at the interrogation room, I was like very nervous, and I never get nervous. I was like, why am I nervous? I was telling John, I was like, I'm kind of nervous. And he's like, why? I was like, it's just Donna. Like, she has this presence. And even when, and I don't get nervous when I'm working with actors, but for her, like, literally, I was like, damn, I'm like, please don't mess up my lives. Please don't make her look at me like I'm crazy. Like, you producing this, you directing this, how old are you? What's going on? So, but we did amazing. And when I saw her audition, I was like, she gives me like Whoopi Goldberg. Like, I love her voice. And I was like, she has this great stance, and she has this authority. So that's why another reason why I cast you. And doing that climax scene, was one of my favorites because we didn't really have anything, especially when you're like limited on budget. You have to do what you can do with making music impactful, and just that scene, even when me and Jerry was editing it, and she's like, and we just cracking up because you have no music, you have no, but the fact that she's like, and we're just laughing and laughing and laughing, but she did so well, and doing that was a blessing.
At the end of the Q&A, I want to say God's coming for yourselves.
And we can take all pictures with the cast. Let's get all the cast, everybody involved, production, so we can get like a group picture. Everybody was involved from the production to the actors to everybody. Let's get a nice group picture.